Hi, welcome to Money Confidence. I'm Crystal Ockley, the Chief Financial Strategist here at Confidence Wealth, and every week I try to bring a topic to you that I hope you find helpful. And this week I wanted to talk a little bit about foundational planning versus, when you buy and sell stocks. Because a lot of times I find people think if I'm comfortable with buying and selling stocks, that's good enough. And I'm going to, get an index fund, or I'm going to just buy and sell some stocks that I like. And that means I have a good investment plan in place. And that's far from the truth. You have to remember your investments are like furniture. So imagine if you were building a house and you were in the process, you were putting the blueprint together, you were talking to the contractors and figuring out where every single room was going to be, how it was going to look. And before you actually even build or finish and make a decision on the blueprint, you started buying furniture for that house. Do you really think all the pieces will work well together just because you saw a couch that looked nice and you said, let me just get that, or you saw a bedroom set that you liked and you said, let me just get it and make it work? Then what happens is when the house is finally built and you go in to put the furniture, you're going to have to make the furniture work in that room, as opposed to looking at the room and saying, what's going to be best in that room? Which furniture would be great? You just have to make the room work with that furniture because you kind of got yourself stuck into it because you bought those pieces before your house was built. And that's how I want you to look at your investment and your retirement and your future financial plan. You first have to build your house. You have to see what the rooms are going to look like. In this case, it means you have to look at how much money you're going to need in all the different decades of your retirement. How's inflation going to affect that? How are taxes going to affect that? How much money is going to be needed for healthcare costs? How much money is going to be needed for the luxuries? What happens if there's a catastrophic event? What happens if things don't work out the way you intended and there's a big crash that occurs? All these things have to go into account. You have to understand what's going to happen and have the right safety nets in place, the right things in place before you actually go. Like, meaning the plan has to be in place before you buy the furniture, which are the investments to fit that foundational plan. And that's the way I want you to think about a good financial plan. A good financial plan takes into account how much income I'm going to need, how much taxes I'm going to pay, inflation, estate planning, what happens in your lifetime, what happens after you're gone. All of those things have to go hand in hand together. And when right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, that's when mistakes happen. I've seen too many people look at things very, in a very casual way. Like, for example, well, I have Social Security and maybe I have a pension and that's enough because when I retire, I'm just going to make sure I live within that means. Well, if you're that type of a person where you're going to just say, it's not about the lifestyle I want to maintain, I'll just live off of whatever my guaranteed income is, well, that's okay. Maybe it'll work out. But the problem is it's not going to be the lifestyle you expected. So you have to remember, when you're working and you're making the money that you are and you're living the lifestyle that you are, you're still putting money away. It looks differently. The moment you retire, it's about, how do I now maintain that lifestyle? And I'm no longer saving, but I'm living off of my savings. And how do I make sure those savings last a lifetime? And also, how do I make sure that I account for inflation and taxes and all of that? Because all of these things go hand in hand together. And that's what's great about a foundational plan in place, because a written income plan gives you that. So that's something we always practice with our clients and our holistic clients that are running the numbers. This is what they know. They look at what the projection looks like. We've ran, middle case scenario, worst case scenario. I never care about the great case scenario. It's always average and below. How is it all going to look so we can make sure we're reaching our goal and meeting our needs? So if you're listening to this and you're like, Crystal, I have a targeted fund or I have investments and I feel like that was good enough because the dollar amount looks good, It's not about the dollar amount. It's about figuring it out what fits in your lifestyle and what income it needs to produce and what taxes you're going to be paying. So if you've never done anything like that and you've never had an income, written income plan or projection in place, this would be a good time for you to reach out and say, hey, let's just meet with the team and figure it out. It's one of the most important things. And our clients, that on annual reviews, that's something that gets always talked about. Did the lifestyle change? Has there been many major expenses? Has there been anything that's changing in that regard? Because that will determine if the plan is still on the right track. So with that said, remember, investments are just furniture. You've got to build your house first. You got to know what the rooms look like, and you have to have the foundation in place before you buy the furniture. Talk to you soon. Until next week.